One of the keys to effectiveness in the world of work is your ability to communicate effectively and well. You spend as much as 75% of your time communicating and interacting with other people. There are two forms of communication. The first form is the way you talk to yourself and dialogue with yourself and think and plan to yourself. And the other form of communication is the way you interact with others. And wonderfully, in us, how to communicate is a learned skill, and you can get better and better at it by learning what the best communicators do and practicing it until it becomes a regular part of your repertoire. Number one, there are three elements to any conversation. Words only account for 7% of the message. When you talk, people will forget most of what you say, but they will remember the way you said it. Okay? The tone of voice. The mere tone of your voice accounts for fully 38% of your message. When you want to sound friendly, warm, reassuring, intimate, or caring when you speak, keep your voice in the lower range where the deeper sounds are. Also, remind yourself to slow down. It's very difficult to be close, friendly, warm, or thoughtful when you're speaking too quickly. Tone of voice is important. And that's why we need to give some thought to it, because if we're in a hurry or busy or rushed, sometimes our tone of voice can be clipped or short and it can be hurtful. Fussy body language accounts for fully 55% of your communication. The very best message is a message that is synchronized. The words, the tone of voice, and the body are all synchronized to the message. Very important. That's why when somebody talks to you, it's important you turn toward them and face them directly when you talk to them and listen closely to what they say and nod and pay attention. There's a great book called His Needs, Her Needs, and They Talk. Her first need is for attention, affection, and respect, face to face, eye to eye, heart to heart. And if she gets those needs fulfilled, then everything else will be fine. If she does not get those needs fulfilled, she's going to be unhappy. The only time you're actually with the woman in your world is when you are face to face and giving them attention and listening to them when they talk and giving them affection and respect. Number two, there are three parts of any conversation. The first part of the conversation, ethos, has to do with the character of the person. A person who has high character can say little and be enormously influential. A person with limited character just doesn't have the same effect. B, pathos, is the second part of communication. It means connecting with the emotions, and we connect with the emotions. When we connect with the emotions, when we tune in and focus on the person and their problems and their needs. There was a wonderful line I read that said, if every person who complains about their problems could come from all corners of the earth and pile their problems in a heap, and if each person could see the size and gravity of the problems of others, they would sneak forward, shamefacedly, and take their petty problems away and creep into the night. The factual content of the conversation in selling. Well, what do we say in selling? You establish rapport, which is the character. You seek the underlying problem or need, which is connecting with the pathos, and only then do you talk about your product or service, which is the logos. Number three, there are four basic personality styles. The first is what we call relators. They are quiet, self-contained, not particularly expressive. They're sensitive people, oriented, and concerned about other people's opinions. In the extreme, a relator will be hypersensitive to the opinions of others. They can't do anything without making sure that everybody else approves. If you're communicating with this person, it requires slow, low-key, easygoing, friendly, almost warm and fuzzy. The greatest concern in life is, let's get along. Let's all be friends. So you find relators in fields like nursing, social services, teaching, small child development, psychology, personnel, or counselors, where they relate to other people. Now, the next type of person is the analyzer. This is the kind of person who's not so concerned about people, but more concerned about doing the job and are more inward directed. Their primary concern is, let's be accurate. The analyzer, who's fastidious and detail-oriented, wants accuracy in just the facts. They'll gravitate toward accounting, computers, engineering, bookkeeping, and computer programming, any field where the problems don't talk back. Now, the third type of person is what we call the director. They're most concerned with, let's get results, get to the bottom line, cut to the chase. Who do you think is reading Success Magazine, Business Week, Forbes, and Success Books and Success Audio programs? It's the director, the go-getter, the one who kicks, you know what, and then takes names. The fourth type of personality is expressive. The socializer is outgoing, direct, valuable, and very people-oriented. Many times they become managers or executives because they have highly integrated personalities. They have both a strong focus on people and a very strong focus on achievement and getting things done. Now, everybody you meet is in one of these four quadrants or groups. No matter which style of communicator you are, 3/4 of the people you meet are something else. There's no right or wrong, better or worse style. Listening to people is to find out which style they are and then to practice personality flexibility so that you can get along with a greater number of different types of people. Whatever style you are, the person you are the most ideal for would be the exact opposite. Nature demands balance in temperament. Nature demands that the opposite person in the relationship with a marriage be temperamentally balanced with you. Number 4 is a balanced dialogue. In the ideal conversation, each person will get a chance to talk and each person will get a chance to listen. And there will be about a 10% to 15% period of easy silences. Easy silence. Just comfortable. People are comfortable with silence. Each of us has needs like vitamin and mineral needs to talk, and each of us has needs to listen. However, some people will have 70% of the time they need to talk, and the other person 70% of the time they need to talk, and so they're always clashing because they're both trying to get their talking out. The worst of all is when incompatibility sets in a relationship and both of them only need to talk 10 or 15% of the time, and then there's vast gaps of uncomfortable silence. This is where the two people really don't have very much in common anymore. Number 5, the key to communication is to question for clarification. If you have any doubt at all, ask, "How do you mean?" or "How do you mean exactly?" and then just pause and wait. It's almost impossible not to answer this question. When you ask, "How do you mean?" the other person cannot stop himself or herself from answering more extensively. Follow up with other open-ended questions and keep the conversation rolling along. The way that you overcome your shyness is very simple. Tune into the other person, ask questions, and then listen carefully to the answers. Focus on encouraging the other person to talk about them. In fact, I'll give you a secret for success in life. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Number 6 is acknowledge and agree. Good conversationalists are active conversationalists. They're not sitting there passively like fence posts. They're actually engaged. Active listening is very, very important. Put down the magazine or newspaper, turn off the television set, lean in, be there the whole time. Number 7, listen attentively. When you listen, his or her feeling of personal value increases. You can actually make another person feel terrific about himself or herself by listening in a warm, genuine, caring way to everything he or she has to say. The more each listens to the other, the more positive and happy each of them feels, and the stronger becomes the bonds of affection between them. Now, the opposite of listening is ignoring. The fastest way to turn a person off, to hurt their feelings, and to make them feel slighted and angry is to simply ignore what they're saying or interrupt them in the middle of a thought. Men are 95% more likely to interrupt a woman than a woman is to interrupt a man. The more you listen to another person, the more he or she trusts you and believes in you. Number 8 is for you to paraphrase the speaker's words in your own words. By paraphrasing the speaker's words, you demonstrate in no uncertain terms that you are genuinely paying attention and making every effort to understand his or her thoughts or feelings. This is where you really prove that you are really listening. So, paraphrase it in your own words. Take the time to paraphrase and rethink about paraphrasing while you're listening, and you'll always be a better listener. Number 9 is pause before replying. When you pause, you accomplish 3 goals simultaneously. First, you avoid running the risk of interrupting if the other person is just catching his or her breath before continuing. The second benefit is that you show the other person that you are giving careful consideration to his or her words by not jumping in with your own comments at the earliest opportunity. The third benefit of pausing in conversation is that you will actually hear the other person better. By pausing, you mark yourself as a brilliant conversationalist. All successful people are excellent communicators. So, how do you communicate more effectively with others? Now, the first one is a profound communication principle. Be impeccable with your word. What that means is to speak with integrity, which means to say what you mean and mean what you say. Words have the power to create or destroy, so it's a good idea to choose your words carefully and consider their impact before you put them out there in the world. Before you speak or write, I want you to ask yourself these 4 questions. Is it necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? And is it helpful? You know, when you say frivolous, untrue, mean, or unhelpful things, it doesn't create a sense of trust or connection in the other person you're communicating with. A lot of people are very careless with their language. The words you use either lift up your energy, make you more creative, or deny your talents. The words you use could reduce your energy. Look at the great business builders, humanitarians, and many of the great artists. They were so careful with their words, and their words lifted people up. They used the language of leadership. The words you use really are like a context or a framework or a stained glass window on the way you see the world. You see the world through a lens, and your language forms that lens of belief. The way you build yourself, architecture, and the way you see yourself in the world is in part through your words. If deep down inside you're coming from scarcity and think, you know what? I'll never have more than the salary that I'm making. Well, then you're not going to go start the big business or read books on financial mastery, because deep inside you would say, what would be the point? I'm not one of those people. If you want to rewire your identity, then you absolutely must dial into this first point of what legendary leaders do in terms of the way they speak, which is to get your precision of languaging right. How did the great military generals get their armies to go out there on fire? It was through their words. Your words to yourself are world class, and also the words you use to your team, to your customers, to your loved ones. So incredibly important. And this leads me to the next communication skill. That's probably the most critical skill for everyone on the planet to master. And that is the skill of effective listening. Now, the undeniable truth is we pretend we're listening, but we're really just thinking about what we're going to say next. We're so worried about getting our point across, we pay very little attention to what the other person is trying to say. If you aren't really listening and responding to what the other person is actually saying, ultimately, all you're really doing is having a conversation with yourself. Here's an invaluable tip. Whenever you're having an important conversation, let them go first. Let them empty themselves out first. Be curious how it is that they've come to feel this way, have this point of view. What is it that they are needing you to hear? Now, this takes a commitment to really want to know what the other person is experiencing and needing. Having worked with couples, corporate teams, and diverse community groups, it takes time for people to really feel they've been heard. But if you invest the time and the intention to do that, they will then be ready to hear you and what you're experiencing, what you're needing, and what you're wanting. Sometimes when you've done your best to listen closely to someone, you may not have heard exactly what it was they were trying to say. And that's why it's so important for you to double check and make sure you really understood them correctly. The easiest way to do that is before you speak, to say, so what I'm hearing you say is, and then repeat back to them what you think they were saying, what they meant to say, and then give them the opportunity to clarify any misunderstandings that you might have before you respond to them. Number 3, speak your truth. The conversation you are most resistant is the conversation you most need to have. All too often we get hurt by someone, or we get hurt by someone, or we get upset by someone, and we are almost taught by society not to speak up. And a lot of us, we think, well, we could lose the relationship and end up alone. It's almost like non-communication born of fear. But the most effective human beings on the planet all have one thing in common. They speak up and they share their truth. The more you actually practice speaking up when you know you want to speak up, the more you will actually step into your next level of power. The hard talks when you actually speak up or when you grow in power. And you actually not only grow in power, you build intimacy in the relationship when you actually speak up with someone and you tell them how you're feeling and you tell them what's most important to you, whether it's professional or personal. That is really a gateway into the other person having the permission to open up as well. And then you have two mature people talking about what's really most important versus sidestepping the truth. You can say whatever you want, so long as you say it with respect. If your friend is late for dinner and it's important to you that they're on time, well, if you lash out at them and say, "Why were you late? I'm angry," that's going to put them into attack mode, which is going to cause them to be defensive. But if you say to them, Johnny or Ravi, whatever their name is, if you say, "You know what, thank you so much for joining me for dinner. Before we get started and enjoy this incredible meal, if I may, I'd just like to share something with deep respect. Punctuality is so important to me, and I've been waiting here for half an hour. Your time is valuable, and my time is valuable. And I'd be ever so grateful if, when we get together, you would respect my time just like I want to respect your time. Just like I want to respect your time." You've said it with respect. And if it is a healthy person versus a toxic person, they're going to appreciate you being so truthful, and you're also going to teach them that punctuality matters. The second tactic is, you can say whatever, so long as you say it with love and respect. Number 4, if you want to make yourself articulate, then not only should you read, but you should write down what you think. Thinking makes you win the battles you undertake, and those could be battles for good things. If you can think and speak and write, you are absolutely deadly. Nothing can get in your way. So that's why you learn to write. And I know lots of people who've been staggeringly successful and watched them throughout my life. Those people, you don't want to have an argument with them. You better have your points organized, because otherwise you are going to look like and be an absolute idiot. If you're going to speak effectively, you have to know way more than you're talking about. To do that, you have to do a lot of reading. The talk isn't a packaged thing that you present to a group. There isn't a group. There's a bunch of individuals, and you talk to them. So when I talk to a group, I always talk to people one at a time. And that makes it easier too, because you know how to talk to a person. Just look at an individual and you say something, and you can tell if they're engaged. They look confused, or they look interested, or they look interested, or they look angry, or they look bored, and they give you feedback about how you're doing. You're actually engaged in a conversation with an audience, even if they're not talking. They're nodding and shifting position and, looking like this, looking like this, and you can pull all that in and use it to govern the level at which you're addressing the entire audience. The last thing I would say is, having the aim to be a good communicator is a good start. There isn't anything that you can possibly do that makes you more competent at everything you do than to learn how to communicate. The people that I've watched in my life have been spectacularly successful. Do they have skills? Clearly. That's it. Minimum precondition. Whatever they negotiate, they're successful. It doesn't mean you win, because if you're a good negotiator, if you're a really good negotiator, everybody walks away from the negotiation thrill. And so then people line up to do things with you. Today we unravel the mysteries of human achievement and unlock the gates to boundless empowerment. For nestled within the fabric of our daily routines lies a singular habit, a habit so potent it has the power to bestow upon you a mantle of greatness. Amidst the hustle and bustle of our modern lives, there exists a subtle yet profound force. A habit that, when cultivated with diligence and intention, can elevate you to heights beyond your wildest dreams. It is not the grand gesturous or momentous acts that define our success, but rather the daily rituals, the habits that shape our destiny. And within the realm of habit lays a treasure trove of untapped potential, waiting to be discovered by those brave enough to seek it. It is the habit of setting audacious goals and pursuing them with unwavering determination. It is the habit of seizing each day as an opportunity for growth, of embracing challenges as stepping stones to success. Consider, if you will, the lives of history's greatest achievers, titans of industry, the visionaries, trailblazers. What set them apart from the masses was not merely talent or luck, but a steadfast commitment to their craft, a dedication to mastery that propelled them to greatness. They understood that success is not a destination, but a journey marked by the daily cultivation of habits that lead to excellence. For just as a single drop of water has the power to carve through stone, so too does the habit of self-improvement have the power to shape your destiny. Together, let us embark on this noble quest, and may we emerge victorious, powerful beyond belief. Earl Nightingale, in his inspiring program, The Strangest Secret, posits that what you think over time becomes your reality. This idea, also expressed by Ralph Waldo Emerson, highlights that you become what you predominantly occupy in your thoughts. The law of the mind, according to Nightingale, is extremely powerful and serves as a fundamental law to explain many others, addressing the action of the mind. Its natural extension is the third law of success, known as the law of mental equivalence. This law holds that your primary responsibility to yourself is to create a clear and accurate mental representation of what you wish to experience in every aspect of your external life. If you seek happiness, you need to clearly define what that means for you and build an exact mental picture of that happiness. The same applies if you yearn for good health, satisfying relationships, or financial prosperity. You must create in your mind a detailed image of those desires. Nightingale argues that this process is the crucial starting point that invariably leads to the realization of your dreams and goals. The fourth law of success, as explained by Nightingale, is the law of correspondence, a notion that has been discussed for millennia and explains human experience. This law states that what is within is reflected without. Your external life is an almost exact reflection of what is happening in your mind, both at the conscious and subconscious levels. This law of correspondence also holds that your external world of material achievements will correspond exactly to your inner world of readiness. The more knowledge and skill you acquire to be more effective in your work, the more you will be paid. You cannot expect to acquire or achieve something outwardly until you have acquired or achieved it inwardly. The law of correspondence reigns supremely. It operates constantly in various areas. First, in your attitude, how others perceive and treat you reflects your internal attitude. Second, in your relationships, these reflect your attitude and personality. If you are a positive person, you will have positive relationships. By becoming more patient and loving, your relationships will change immediately, like a mirror. The third area where the law of correspondence operates is in health. According to Nightingale, much of your health is directly linked to specific attitudes that can cause anything from minor illnesses to serious conditions. Holistic medicine suggests that there are corresponding mental attitudes for most common ailments, from colds to serious illnesses. In summary, according to Nightingale, the law of correspondence establishes that your external world reflects your internal world, and understanding and working with these mental laws are essential to achieving your dreams and goals. The fifth law of success is the law of belief, which states that what you believe with emotion becomes your reality. You always tend to act consistently with your deepest beliefs. Your beliefs act as a filter or screen that edits incoming information and only allows into your conscious awareness those things that you have already decided are true about yourself and the world. As William James of Harvard said, belief creates the actual fact. In the Bible, it is said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. For example, if you absolutely believe that you are destined to achieve great success in life and that nothing can stop you from reaching the greatness that is rightfully yours, you will act consistently with that belief and eventually make it a reality. If you doubt your ability to succeed for some reason, this negative belief will manifest in your tendency to hold yourself back. The most important part of the law of belief is the need to question your own limiting beliefs. These are the beliefs that act as brakes on your potential, the persistent doubts and fears that people have about themselves and their abilities, which lead them to settle. When you have limiting beliefs, you tend to settle for much less than you are capable of. To embark on the path to extraordinary success, we must first confront these limiting beliefs head on. We must dare to question their validity, to shine a light on the falsehoods that hold us back from realizing our dreams. And what better way to do so than to seek the wisdom of those who know us best? Ask them, my friends, ask them what limiting beliefs they perceive in you, for often it is through the eyes of others that we gain clarity on our own limitations. But remember that limiting beliefs are but mere illusions. smoke and mirrors that cloud our judgment and hinder our progress. Test them against the light of truth. Ask yourselves, have others with similar limitations achieved the success we desire? And as you ponder this question, reflect on your actions. For it is in your deeds, not your words, that your true values and beliefs are revealed. Children are very aware of this and ignore their parents' advice when their parents say, "Do as I say, not as I do." The truth is that we all seem to know that a person's actions are the true reflection of their deepest convictions. There is much confusion and unhappiness in the world today because many people feel that if they say something emphatically enough or write it down, it means they really believe it. But this is false. You only truly believe in what you do. Your actions speak much louder than your words. For example, if you truly believe in the values of persistence and dedication in the things you do every day, if you truly believe in the values of honesty, integrity, and self-discipline, you will demonstrate these qualities in each of your behaviors. In fact, you can determine a person's values by observing what they did in the past when the pressure was on. Only when you are forced to make a decision is when you know what you truly value. For example, when you must choose between family and work or between money and honesty, your true values come to light. The wonderful and important thing about your values is that you can develop them in yourself by disciplining yourself to act consistently with them, even if you haven't yet made them a fixed part of your character. The seventh law of success is the law of motivation, which says that everything you do is triggered by internal desires, impulses, and instincts, many of which may be at an unconscious level. Your attitudes and behaviors will be determined by your dominant motivations, by what you really want and need in life, not by what you think you want. This is an extension of the law of values, and it is very important that you understand it. There is a simple formula called the ABC formula of human motivation and human action. The ABC acronym stands for antecedents, behavior, and consequence. Antecedents are the things that happen before behavior. Behavior is the things you do, and consequences are what happens as a result of your behavior. We know that psychologically, only about 15% of your motivation comes from antecedents, from what you read, learn, or are told to do or not do. You see, a staggering 85% of your motivation stems from the expectations you hold, the beliefs you harbor about the future that awaits you. The clearer you paint the picture of your desired future, the more vividly you envision the consequences of your actions, the stronger your motivation becomes. Clarity is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is the cornerstone upon which success is built. For without absolute clarity about your goals, about the outcomes you seek to achieve in every facet of your life, your motivation wanes, your efforts falter. Now, let's talk about the ABC formula, a simple yet profound concept that holds the key to understanding motivation and behavior. It's a simple equation. Action begets consequence. But here's the twist. It's not just your actions that shape your reality. It's also your inaction. Yes, my friends, even the decision to do nothing carries with it a consequence. What you do, as well as what you fail to do, will have consequences in your future, and sometimes the consequences can be dramatic. A good exercise for success is to write a description of the kind of person you would like to be and the kind of life you would like to lead. The most powerful faculty you have is your ability to think, your ability to understand. The more precisely you can think about who you are and what you want to achieve and how to achieve it, the more effective and successful you will be. The 10th law of success is the law of subconscious activity, and it has several applications. The first part of this law is that any thought or idea mixed with emotion that you hold in your conscious mind will be accepted as a command by your subconscious mind. This means that any thought, idea, or goal you can continuously hold in your mind, you can achieve, because your subconscious mind will work to organize all your thoughts and actions to bring it into your reality. The second part of the law of subconscious activity is that your subconscious mind, once given the proper commands, will activate your reticular activation system and its function. Your reticular activation system's function is a brain filter-like part that alerts you to events that are consistent with your desires or dominant emotions. For example, if you decide you want to buy a red sports car, this desire would send a signal to your reticular activation system that red sports cars are now of paramount importance to you. From that moment on, you would see red sports cars everywhere, even blocks away. You would become extremely alert and sensitive to red sports cars, as well as to the means to obtain one. If one of your goals is to achieve financial independence, the reticular activation system will make you extremely sensitive to all kinds of opportunities around you that would help you earn more money. You would hear and see things everywhere that you might not have been aware of at all in the absence of having set this goal and planted it in your subconscious mind. The third part of the law of subconscious activity is that your subconscious mind, which controls your autonomic nervous system and all your muscles, nerves, actions, and reactions, also controls your body language and your tone of voice. Professor Moravian of the University of California at Santa Barbara has concluded that when you communicate with others, 55% of the message you send is contained in your body language, 38% of the message is contained in your tone of voice, and only 7% of the message is contained in the actual words you use. And your body language and tone of voice are largely controlled by messages about yourself and your goals that you have sent to your subconscious mind as a result of how you think and feel. For example, when you have had a success of any kind, you send an emotional charge to your subconscious mind that tells it you are a winner. For some time afterward, you will walk, talk, act, and think like a winner. Your step will be more energetic, your voice will be stronger, your eyes will be more focused, and your body language will signify this belief about yourself. Your subconscious mind will accept your predominant emotional thoughts and organize your whole body, voice, and tone to fit a pattern consistent with that. The ninth law of success is the law of expectations, often called the self-fulfilling prophecy law. Is one of the most powerful laws because of its simplicity and predictability. This law simply states that what you confidently expect tends to materialize in your life. You do not get what you want, but what you expect most intensely. For this reason, a self-expectancy attitude can lead to great success in all areas of your life. The wonderful thing about the law of expectations is that you have the power to manufacture your own expectations. You can decide to expect only good things to happen to you. You can walk, talk, and act as if you believe that everyone is conspiring to help you achieve your goals. You can become what Clement Stone often called a reverse paranoid. You can convince yourself that everyone is conspiring to do you good. The way you apply the law of expectations is by constantly seeking the good in every person and in every situation. When you have a temporary setback, you can look for the valuable lesson it might contain. Instead of getting angry, you can say to yourself something like, "I believe in the perfect outcome of every situation in my life." This type of affirmation makes you approach everything you do with a more positive, open, and optimistic attitude. The most powerful expectations are those you hold for yourself. You should approach everything you do with a calm and confident attitude of expectation. You should expect to succeed more often than not. Expect to win more times than you lose. Expect to eventually reach your goals if you persist long enough. The 10th law of success, which applies to many other areas of life, is called the law of concentration. It states that whatever you focus on and repeatedly think about with emotion tends to become more and more a part of your internal and external life. The 11th law of success is the law of habit. It states that virtually everything you do is automatic and unconscious. You are largely a creature of habit. From the moment you wake up in the morning until you go to bed at night, you tend to follow the path of least resistance and do the things you have become accustomed to in the past. There is nothing wrong with establishing habits that allow you to simplify your life. In fact, your life becomes successful to the extent that many of the things you once needed to concentrate on, like driving a car, have become automatic and unconscious. There are several parts to the law of habit. The first part is that good habits are hard to form, but easy to live with. The second part is that bad habits are easy to form, but hard to live with. One of the most difficult changes of all are bad habits that are counterproductive to the goals you wish to achieve. Therefore, it is important for you to sit down and reflect on the habits you have and carefully analyze them. You need to decide if they are leading you toward your goals or away from them. The third part of the law of habit is that your mind becomes a slave to your habit. Once you form a habit, your mind becomes accustomed to following that pattern rather than thinking of new ways to act. That is why it is so important to break bad habits and replace them with positive habits You can accomplish this by practicing the law of concentration in conjunction with the law of habit, and continually thinking about how you would be with a new habit or behavior. This sends this message to your subconscious mind, and eventually you begin to behave in a manner consistent with the new habits you desire. And so, my friends, let us carry forth the flame of inspiration ignited within us. As we part ways, let us not forget the profound truth that it is our daily habits, our rituals of excellence, that shape the trajectory of our lives. And it is through the strokes of habit, of unwavering commitment, relentless pursuit of growth, and unyielding determination that we craft our masterpiece. So let us pledge, here and now, to embrace this habit of empowerment, to nurture it, to cultivate it, until it blooms into fruition. As you depart from this gathering, remember that the journey to greatness begins with a single step, a step towards the cultivation of habits that propel you towards your highest potential. And though the road may be fraught with challenges and obstacles, know that with each stride, you grow stronger, more resilient, more powerful than you ever thought possible. So go forth, embrace the power of habit, and let it guide you to heights beyond your wildest dreams, for in the end, it is not the destination that defines us, but the journey of self-discovery, of growth, and of transformation. And just this habit, practiced with unwavering commitment and dedication, has the power to make you powerful beyond belief. Until we meet again, may your path be illuminated by the light of possibility, and may you walk it with unwavering resolve. For within you lies the power to shape your destiny, to become the most powerful version of yourself imaginable. The superconscious mind and the superconscious capability is hidden within yourself, and then I'll show you how you can use it. The following are the characteristics of your superconscious mind. First of all, it has access to all data stored in your subconscious mind. Everything that you have ever learned, everything you've read, experienced in your lifetime, has been stored away. And when your superconscious mind is functioning, it can go back into this vast treasure trove library of your mind, and it can pick out information. Any piece of information will just pop out when you're working with your superconscious mind to solve a problem or achieve a goal. The second thing is it can discriminate between valid and invalid data. You may have heard something or learned something that may have not been correct. A date, time, a place, a fact, a figure. But when your superconscious mind is sorting information, it knows exactly what is correct and what is incorrect. It has access to data outside of your experience. It can tap into the universal mind, and all data that's available in the universe is available to your superconscious when you tune into it. Now, with regard to yourself, the way this works is that sometimes you'll have an idea when you're sitting in this room, and I'll be talking about A, and you'll have an idea about B. Number 3, everyone has at least 4 ideas per year, any one of which would make them a millionaire. So if your goal is to become a millionaire, remember that the superconscious mind is trying to get you ideas to fulfill whatever it is that you want. It's interesting about the superconscious mind in that it is neutral as well. If you think of negative, angry thoughts, then you'll think of negative, angry ways to live. And you'll have negative, angry experiences as well. Mostly, it works when you are clear about something that you want or desire. It'll start to bring you ideas to achieve it. Many times you're walking, driving along, and you'll have an idea for a product or a service or something that you could do that would serve other people. And you say, why doesn't somebody do that? Why doesn't somebody offer that? And the only difference between you and someone else is if someone else took action on it. And then a week or a month or a year later, you're looking around and somebody will come out with that idea, and they'll make a fortune. One of the hardest things of all is to trust your own ideas. Listen, the ideas are coming, the ideas are there, and they shoot through your mind. Many people will carry a little notebook. They'll put a notebook by the edge of the bed. They'll stop the car and write it down quickly. Because very often the rule is what you're seeking for is seeking for you. What you want wants you. And so when you decide that you want something, it's time to tune in and get it. Say number 3, once you have programmed a goal, a major goal, and the more detailed you write out the goal, the more the superconscious mind can really get its powers into it. And remember, if you have a thought without an emotion, it has no impact. If you have an emotion without a thought, it has no direction. But if you have a thought of something you want, combined with an emotion of excitement and confidence and happiness that you can achieve it, it's like a powerful bullet, and it activates all your mental powers. Once you program the goal, which you have done by writing it down, it goes to work 24 hours a day. And it's sort of like planting seeds. If you plant grass seed, what will happen is the grass will spring up in a day or two. If you plant a bamboo tree, you water it and you fertilize it, nothing happens. Nothing happens for 3 or 4 or 5 years. In the 5th year, it grows 60 feet into the air. It suddenly germinates and explodes into the air. And sometimes it's the same with a career or a goal or a book. So sometimes some seeds will grow quickly. Some seeds will take longer. What you do is you just have to keep watering and fertilizing with confidence and faith until the seed springs into flower. So it's working 24 hours a day while you're awake, while you're sleeping, while you're busy doing something else. Your superconscious mind is on the job. Number 4, it automatically and continuously solves every problem on the way to achieving your goal. In order for you to achieve something greater than you've ever achieved before, you have to learn certain lessons. You've got to be schooled. You have to make mistakes, have temporary failures, and experience disappointments and setbacks. As I said before, when God wants to send you a gift, He wraps it up in a problem. So what superior people do is they look for the lesson in every problem that they have, and the lesson is often sent to you by your superconscious mind. And so whenever you have a problem, you will often get a solution or an insight to do something and do it. And it'll continually solve every problem progressively. This is all the great inventions. All the great musical concertos were all solved one step at a time, one scientific problem at a time. Number 5, it's capable of goal-oriented motivation. The superconscious mind cannot work without a goal. It's just like an exocet missile. A heat-seeking missile has got to be targeted on something. So when you set a goal, the superconscious mind can really grab onto that goal and go to work for it. And it has the ability to seek out the goal that you're looking for. And that's why it often brings it to you in the most remarkable ways. When you have a goal, what happens is you tap into this form of free energy, almost like taking a plug and plugging it upward into this superconscious mind, and you're just bound with energy. And it's the energy of the motivation and the excitement that comes from the goal. You must have clear, specific goals in order to tap into this free energy. Now, number 6, it responds to clear, authoritative commands, what we call positive affirmations. When you say, I await this amount, I achieve this goal, the superconscious mind accepts it as a command. It's passed from your conscious mind through your subconscious mind and into your superconscious. When you make a decision, that wonderful quote that Kim quotes, when you make a decision, nature moves too. All manner of things begin to happen that would not have happened in the absence of the decision. You get phone calls and you get letters and you get emails, and all kinds of things begin to happen immediately after you make a very clear decision, which means that you set a very clear goal. Writing the goal down is very powerful. So make a decision that you're going to do or not do something, and then take the first step. Now, number 7, it grows in capability as it is used and believed in. The more trust you have in your superconscious mind, the faster it works for you, and the more calm and confident you absolutely believe that something will show up. Something will be fine. The most amazing thing is that something happens. And the more you practice with it and the more confidence you have, the faster it works for you. It takes a lot of confidence at the beginning, but that's all it takes. It doesn't cost any money. It requires a step of faith, a mental step of faith. Number 8, it operates best with an attitude of confident expectancy. When you confidently expect that your goals will be reached, your problem will be solved, that everything will be well. When you confidently expect it, it just seems to come into reality. The more you believe it, the better and faster it works. Number 9, it operates best under 2 conditions. The first condition is when you are concentrating 100% on the problem, when you're totally focused on the problem. Suddenly, ideas pop out. When you have a goal, you write down every single thing you could think of that would help you to achieve the goal. And the more you write 10, 20, 30 things, the more likely it is for something to suddenly be there. Again, you may have pulled it out from deep in your memory, and suddenly that's the key. That's what will make this work. And the other time is when you are concentrating 0%, when your mind is busy elsewhere. So if you have not been able to solve a goal by focusing on it single-mindedly, then walk away. Number 10, it brings you exactly the solution you require at exactly the right time. Let us say that you think of a goal, and the goal, the first thing that pops into your mind is to phone so-and-so and ask him or her about this. Sometimes you'll pick up the phone or call immediately, and they say, I'm going to be in Europe for a month and out of contact. If you had called them an hour later, they'd have already been gone, and you wouldn't have been able to get through to them. Today, of course, you can, with self-launching, get through to anybody. But the point is, when you get the idea, move quickly because it's time-dated, and sometimes it's dated only for a few minutes. All right, now, number 11, it will bring you the experiences you need to be successful. We learn 10 times more from a failure experience than from a success experience. Here's a lesson. If you are going through or you have been through a failure experience, let's say a temporary failure experience, take a piece of paper and write at the top of the page, what have I learned from this experience? You'll be astonished at how much you have learned that if you don't write it down, you won't remember, and you'll have a tendency to repeat. But what happens is when you write down everything you've learned from your negative experience, you program that in, and you'll be astonished at how many lessons you can get from one setback. If you look into every experience for a lesson, you'll always find at least one. And sometimes the lesson you'll find will be priceless, and it will change your life forever. But you don't find it if you're not looking for it, so you've got to look for it. Number 12, it makes all of your words and your actions and their effects fit a pattern consistent with your self-concept and your dominant goals. That means that you can be in a conversation and you'll have this impulse to say something and you'll say it. And it'll turn out to be exactly the right thing. Sometimes you'll have an impulse to say something and something will tell you, don't say anything, don't say anything. It'll turn out later that it was very wise that you said nothing. So therefore, trust your intuition. If it tells you to speak, speak. If it tells you not to speak, don't speak. Here's the one key to the principle of serendipity. The only people who find happy things or make happy discoveries are people looking for something. They're looking for happiness. They're looking for success. They're looking for goals. They're looking for something. And as a result, they keep making happy discoveries. In the logical world, things have a cause and effect relationship. In the superconscious world, whether you do this, you get that. In the superconscious mind, things have a synchronicity relationship. Completely unrelated events happen sometimes on the other side of the world that cause you to be successful. So watch for synchronicity. And the more you watch for it, the more it will happen. So number 13, it contains all monitor circuits for pre-programming. That you can actually pre-program your mind, and the way you do it, you remember that your subconscious mind and your superconscious can only respond to positive commands. A monitor circuit only accepts commands that are positive. So you don't say, let me remember not to forget my keys. So what you do is you say, remember to take my keys with me when I leave. Remember to pick this up when I'm on my way home. Remember to do this. And when you say that, your superconscious mind takes it. And exactly at the moment you're walking past that table, it'll tweak it into your mind and you'll get the keys. It's the most amazing darn thing, and you've all had this experience. And you can use it for anything. You can pre-program yourself to call somebody, to stop off, to pick something up, to do something, and so on. Now activating the superconscious mind. Hey, the master method of activation of the superconscious mind is solitude. The way that you do it is, first of all, you go into silence for 30 to 60 minutes. It's called. You don't have radio or television or coffee or cigarettes or newspapers. You just go and sit somewhere perfectly silently for 30 to 60 minutes. Now, the first 25 to 26 minutes of this exercise will be excruciatingly painful. You'll want to get up and go do something and adjust a picture frame and make a phone call. It's almost like you've got ants inside you because it's so hard to sit absolutely perfectly still, relaxed for 30 minutes. So, when you're sitting there for 25 to 30 minutes, about that point, you'll start to go calm, and all the energy, all the fidgetiness will disappear, and you'll just go calm. And after the 30-minute point, what will happen is ideas will start to flow like a river. If you've never done it before, the first time you do it, you'll get a result. You'll get an insight, an idea, a solution to a problem, an idea to solve a goal. The next time you do it, you'll get it again. And every time you sit quietly in solitude for 30 to 60 minutes, you'll get ideas that may save you years of hard work. Whenever you calm your mind and let your mind go completely calm, what happens is superconscious mind function. There's 3 sources of a superconscious solution. The first is intuition. It comes from within. And as we say, the still small voice is sometimes so loud that it drowns out everything. You hear that answer and go, wow, geez, this is it. And you get up and you're excited. Second of all, you'll get it from chance encounters with information and with strangers. Chance encounters, you'll just come across something at random in a newspaper or a magazine that's a piece of information that's priceless. It's the last piece in the jigsaw puzzle, puts it all together. Once you have a goal, your intuition, your superconscious mind will be trying to get the answer to you like a person rushing through the crowd, shouting at you as you're getting away. This superconscious mind is trying to get the answer to you. Be alert to unexpected successes and unexpected failures, because often they will contain the germ or an idea that will change your life. So how can you tell a superconscious solution? Number one, when the answer comes, it will be 100% complete, and it will be simple. It'll be so simple that you think, why didn't I think of that before? It will be within your resources. You won't have to get anybody else's permission or help. It's something that you can do, and you just want. You hit. You're like this. How could I not have thought of that? It will be a blinding flash of the obvious. It'll be so obvious that you'll just be surprised you hadn't thought of it. And three, it will be accompanied by a burst of energy and joy. Do you see the energy that you need to implement the solution will come with the solution? Sometimes you'll have a superconscious solution in the middle of the night, and you'll wake up with this incredible idea, and you'll be able to sit down and start writing it down, and all the energy you need to write it down. The law of superconscious activity says that any thought, plan, goal, or idea held continuously in the conscious mind must be brought into reality by the superconscious. The more you use it, the more you believe it. The more it will work for you, the more you absolutely trust in it. And pretty soon you'll get onto this beam where you're getting the answers and the intuitive. Always be open to the likelihood that your goal will be achieved in a way completely different from what you had expected. Something completely unusual will happen, and you'll achieve your goal in a way that you never thought of before. When you're completely positive about yourself and your future, and you have very clear written goals, plans, and priorities, you tap into the greatest power in the universe.